have you, really tried to? I mean, that's the problem. We do a lot of things. We may have one time or another clarified, then that's it. We don't do it periodically. We just meditate out of habit. We do a lot of things just out of habit. So that's why there's less freshness. So in order to clarify, we have to usually stop and start to look or be aware. So it forces to do that. That should be very part of your practice, all of our practice. We just don't keep on doing things out of habit and just rotely doing it. So this is one of the skillful means that we can use to apply. That applies to everything, not just questioning about your meditation, which one of the things I do periodically is clarifying the refuge, because that's one of our main practices. So let's start out by just sitting, not being distracted to anything. Just allow ourselves to connect with who we already are, our true nature. Allow yourself to be what or who you already are. Some of you are probably trying to figure out, clarify what you are. But really what you are is before that. See, what you are is before anything. You are before you are anything. We've never really started to look at that, spend time with that. See what that is. So that's one of the problems. We're looking for something when we already are. When we already are what we're looking for. Because we unconsciously think that we are something. That's why we're looking for something and not just simply being what we already are. Our habit conditioning of being something is so strong. We never even begin to see the possibility that we don't have to be anything to be or to be what we really are. See, everything is contained within the present mind. When they say everything is contained within the mind, it's within the mind that which you are right now. Right now, you're experiencing. You are that mind. Because out of your habit and conditioning, you're experiencing that mind as something which it is not. That's why you are not and you don't see what it is. So when you just are, what are you being? What is being? When you're not anything, what is that? That's the mind, without the label of mind. So mind is present whether you're aware of it or know it or not. Just as you are, whether you're aware, whether you aware that you are or not, or whether you try to be, you are or not. Same. Of course, just being what you are without being anything, you're automatically being the mind. And same as when you are just being the mind, you're just being. So when you have this background that I'm giving you, we can just simply be or sit without being anything. Then you know that it's not nothing. Because you're being all these without you even knowing it. This is how we can begin to realize who we are, really are. Just simply starting to be what you are, already are. See, the big sticking point is what you are is not anything. That's what you have to be clear about. That's what you have to start to accept.
You got the phone.
Who is that? So this is the meditation of just being, or just meditation, the meditation of just being what you are. See, what you are is just are. Right now, that doesn't make much sense to us. We're not very clear what that means. But once you start to spend more time, you will start to experience and see things that you didn't. Of course, not in the first 5 minutes, okay? But you will. See, when it is not anything, we just totally stop and give up, move on. But that's where it's happening. It's actually happening, really happening, when you're not anything. When the mind is not anything, when the mind is not lost in anything. We just spend more time doing this and familiarize ourselves with the state of not being anything, not lost in anything, not distracted to anything, but still awake and aware. When the mind is not anything, we can begin to experience what it is. So mind being something prevents you from being able to experience what the mind is. Because the mind is not anything. But it is. There's no doubt. Because we experience it. We don't have to prove it. So this is one of the ways we can find out what the mind is. It's more of a direct way. And of course, there's other ways. All right, take a break. So any questions? So what do you feel when the mind is not anything? When you are not anything? What do you feel? What do you experience? Are you totally blank, unconscious, not seeing anything, not feeling anything, not experiencing anything?
Brendan, it's Tracy. I feel, at first, I feel a huge sense of relief. That's what I feel at first when I'm settling into this consideration.
Was that Tracy?
Yes, it was.
Oh, I thought you said Stacy, and I'm looking for Stacy.
That's my alter ego.
So you feel a sense of relief.
Yeah.
Is that good or bad?
I don't know. It feels good. It
What
feels
do you
good.
mean you don't know?
Feels good in my body. That's for sure.
Right. Because we're starting to let go.
Yeah.
You know, that's when we hold on. We hold on that which you really are not. That's where we hold on.
Yeah.
Because we can't hold on to what we really are. If you try to hold on to what you really are, it automatically is no longer who you really are. Who you really are is totally free, open, empty mind.
What I feel, Brendan, what I feel is
Who's talking? Let me go on.
this is
Can I
Barbara.
get on speaker view?
This is Barbara.
Huh? I see it. Hold on.
Barbara.
I see it. Okay, there. Go ahead.
What I feel is I feel like if I'm sitting in the mountains,
Mm-hmm.
I just feel part of everything.
Right.
I don't feel separate.
Right.
I feel part of the world then.
So why can't you feel that when we're sitting in a group? When you're in a bus or when you're in a crowd, or why not?
I think that's ideal if you can feel that.
Well, you can. That's what the practice does.
Yeah.
Practice of not being lost, not focusing.
I think the boundaries are gone. You just feel part of everything.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what we're trying to do. The boundaries are artificial. It's man-made, mind-made, small mind-made. The boundaries. The boundaries are the conditioning, the habit, our karma. That's what we're working on. We're trying to erase that. We're trying to see that it is not really there. but we act like and we feel like it is really there. See, that's the delusion, the misperception, the mistake. So once you start to clarify when you're in the mountains, how you are everything, begin to see how you are everything, you just come down and go to the stadium and apply the same thing. Okay?
Okay.
Good. So you have the experience, you have something to work from. But there are certain practices that will help us do that without going to the mountains. That you can go into your closet. So is this your first time here?
No, I've been here before. Mhm.
I guess I missed you.
It's okay.
Good. Anybody else?
Brendan, it's similar to, this is Allison, similar to what Tracy was saying, but the word that was coming to describe what I was feeling was just the sense of really resting.
Right. What's happening when we're resting? We're automatically being. And when we're not being anything, we're automatically being who we are. But most of us are not, most of us thinks that that's not complete. That's not who we are. You know, we got to be something to be who we really are. That's how we operate.
Yeah.
And the practice shows you that you don't have to be anything to be who you are, really are. And that's the freedom. That's the total freedom. You don't have to be anything whatsoever to be who you really are. As it says in the nature of mind or the innate great perfection, you are already perfect and complete. Then we can free ourselves when we can be, when we can start to be not anything. See, the tricky part is not being anything doesn't mean not being that. Got that? It just simply means you're not being what you're being as something separate, solid, separately existing. That's what it means. Not being anything is the absence of that. Nothing to do with the absence of the object. That's what emptiness means. If you don't already know. That's what it means. We're already free. That's why we don't have to do anything to be free.
Can you just say that one more time?
What?
What you just said.
Well, I don't remember now. Something like, we're not anything. We don't have to be anything to be free. See, that's the mistake. We think out of habit and conditioning, we have to be this or that, we have to do this or that to be free. So this is not so simple. Of course, we can't just be the way we have been. That's not going to do anything. So the part where we have to do something is we have to try to change, start to see that we don't have to be anything. Stop thinking and believing that we have to be something, do something to be free or to be who we really are. And all this is like happens at an unconscious level. We're not even conscious, but that's how we operate. That's why we're deluded. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So we start to clarify to ourselves why we're deluded. How are we deluded? How are we misperceiving? See? We don't see the object as empty, so we see it as something. If we see the object as empty, then the object is no problem. It can't harm you. That's, you can realize emptiness, you can begin to experience that, but realizing emptiness takes quite a while. But there's other ways that you can begin to experience and start to be lost. Stop misperceiving. Like the other practices, as I said before, non-focusing immediately, right away. The Rungbap practice of just letting things be as they are, not making anything. When we just see things, see what it is like just to see, without making, without imputing, defining, processing what you're seeing. That's one of the practices that we can do. We just simply look or observe. And that's just same as just mind, just being mind without being anything. And you can do that with the object. If we can start to do that, we don't react. See, most of us automatically react to whatever we perceive, feel, and experience. That's the freedom. When we react, we're giving up our freedom. When we don't react, we're remaining free. We can't get lost in it. And what we're seeing doesn't enslave us. We're enslaved by whatever we perceive, feel, and experience because we focus on that. We get lost in that, and we think it's real. And when whatever we perceive, feel, and experience, we make something of it. We say, oh, this is so good, this is so real, this is not real. There's something wrong here. It should be this way, it should be that way. All that disappears when you just simply observe. Just simply observe without any comment, without doing or making anything of what you're seeing. You see, that's so simple. That's how you can start to change, make the big shift. Is simply not reacting, not making anything, but you simply Just see. You can start out by doing that short periods of time, okay? To keep it clear and fresh. Of course, if you're not used to it, you can't try to prolong it or try to do it long period. Then it just becomes unclear and you're defeating yourself. Try to get that feel. Try to get what it feels like, not to react, not to make anything of it. If you can do that, nothing can harm you. If you can do that with your thoughts, if you can do that with a person you hate, or whatever that bothers you, the world of difference is right in your hand. These are the things that you should take home, Allison, and clarify. There's a lot in here. It's in very simple English. It can be deceptively simple. This is what you need to clarify. Spend time with it. This is not a complicated teaching or text, okay? This is a different, probably different than what you're used to. So obviously you feel the truth, you see some truth in it, you can see the possibility, why not spend time? So forget about me being a high lama or not, okay? Just take the stuff. If you feel see any possibility, start to work with it. Because a lot of us are so stuck on authority and name and, I'm not trying to discredit the high lamas, okay, believe me. It's not the high lama's fault. It's the fault of our preconceptions, all the ideas, how things should be, how they are. Take it where you can get it. Good, Allison. Good.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. I'm glad we were able to do this. So anybody else?
Brandon, hello, this is Arik.
Hi, Arik. Hi, Arik.
Hello, Brandon. Just like Tracy said, and it always feels, I always feel that I just I don't think I've said that before, but that word release.
Yeah.
It's a profound sense of release.
Yeah.
And the word that you use, and it's a very subtle word, but you're very consistent about using it as well, is to allow ourselves.
Yeah.
And it's exactly what you've been talking about for just now.
Yeah.
It's to allow ourselves to let go of this incessant need, well, this belief, let go of the belief.
Yeah, at an unconscious level.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And that's where the release, that's when the release happens. Just
Right.
ever so briefly, but it's there and it's very deep, and it's actually
That's the peace
it's
we're experiencing if we can do it. And it's automatic. You don't even have to be conscious. You know, you don't even have to know. But we start to feel that when we start to let go, when we allow. How can we allow things if we're holding on to anything, you see?
that's right.
Automatically, everything starts to be let go of without the, the separate thought of letting go, trying to let go. It's just more of a gentle way, peaceful way, just allowing. So when you allow, you're allowing to be who you already are. That's what you're allowing, actually. Simple but profound. And no limit.
And it widens,
Yes.
it deepens.
Yeah. So when you allow yourself to be as you are, you're automatically becoming who you are, who you really are. That's what's happening. That's why allowing is such a great practice. A lot of us have a tendency to think or may, perceive, well, I'm allowing this, I'm allowing that, but just simply allowing. It includes everything. There's just a feeling of actually unburdening yourself from who you think you are, unburdening yourself from what you're holding on. This is the real freedom. Freedom that doesn't cost anything. There's no side effects either. It's right here, right now. But you have to allow yourself. Simply allow yourself to start to feel that, to start to taste that, start to become that. Because you already are that. All you need to do is you simply allow yourself to be that. That's what prevents us from being who we really are. We don't allow ourselves to be who we really are. Being everything, all the things that we are not. In order to be all the things that we are not, we got to hold on. We got to focus. Can be very simple, but we still have to practice.
Brendan,
Mm.
this is Tara.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, excuse me, go ahead.
What I noticed from this practice is that when I allow myself to exercise the letting go muscle, so to speak,
Right.
during the, when thoughts and feelings and everything come up and I don't
Just hold on a second. I
Sure,
gotta
sure.
get some water.
Yeah, please do.
I don't know what's going on, but maybe I'm having a reaction from letting go too much too fast. All right, Tara, go ahead. I'm okay now. That's something.
Good. Glad you're feeling better.
Yeah.
Well, let me go back for a second to what
Yeah.
you asked earlier. Why meditate?
Yeah.
And the reason I'm more interested now in having my post meditation, or what I'm calling, the rest of my life when I'm not actually formally meditating.
Right.
I'm wanting to have there be less of a difference between those two
Well,
experiences.
that's the goal.
Yeah. And so I noticed that there's a lot of resistance to, I don't want to be feeling this. I don't want this to be happening. I don't want people to be suffering. I don't want to, it's like there's all this sort of clenching and tension and reactivity to whatever's arising
Mm-hmm.
in the world around me and within me. And then in meditation, you get to toss all that and just simply, the being is in fact the lack of resistance. That's how it's made
Of course.
sense for me.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but I guess the question I keep having is, how do I integrate that? I find I can do that when I stop and pause, when I have the opportunity to stop and pause
Right.
and slow things down,
All
which
right.
is not always the case if I'm
Right.
working with somebody or I'm in
All
conversation or whatever. So,
All right.
yeah.
How do you start to do that? This is the secret. You ready?
Non-focusing.
No. No, that's one small part of the way. No, the secret is just keep on doing it. That's all you have to do. That's the secret. Just keep on doing it. It cannot not happen. Don't worry about how or when, or just keep on doing it because you're experiencing it. That's the proof. You create problems. How am I going to make it faster? How am I going to improve? So you just start to relax and just do the practice. Just learn how to relax. That's, like Longchenpa says, relax, rest. He uses the word rest. But we're not used to that. We're just it's so antithetical to what we're used to. But just simply relax. When we relax, notice we're automatically doing Rangbap. When we relax, we're automatically being. When we relax, we can stop being what we're not. Just that simple word, relax. We can just start to feel that totally, experience that viscerally, Then you become that. By simply relaxing, you can automatically become what you really are. Just that simple practice of relaxing. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. But this requires trust, right? Trust and faith. But it's not blind faith or blind trust, because you've already had taste and experiences. And you know it is possible. And you have the power to decrease or increase the trust. That's the power that you have. The more you trust, it becomes easier. When you really trust, you start to become that which you trust automatically. That's why trust is so important. And that's kind of like one of the magic of trust, trusting. All right, good.
Can we sit again, Brendan? Can we sit again together?
Yeah, sure. So we're just simply sitting and relaxing. Just being. So if you can just relax and just be, then you don't have to be anything. Just by doing this over and over and more, we get used to it. We become familiar with it. We start to become the resting. We start to become the relaxation. Relaxation is relaxed mind. So some of you, if you're having problem of just relaxing, find the object and you can relax in that object. Just totally relax into that object. That object can be your breath. That object can be your mind. Or it could be your awareness. So this is how we can start to be who we really are, with or through something. So doing this type of meditation, it's not enough just to have peacefulness, tranquility. There has to be clarity, wakefulness, awareness. And the mind is not anything. If there's no clarity, there's not much value. If there's no clarity, you can't begin to see the emptiness of mind. Mind not as anything. So in the practice of mind being mind, there should be clarity of the mind. Mind just being mind. Not just this calmness or tranquility. So the natural quality of mind or awareness is being empty, not anything, but clear, awake, cognizant, clear. One thing, don't become attached. This peacefulness or tranquility. Those of you who are beginning will have an automatic tendency to become attached and will start to grasp at that experience. Then you're defeating your purpose. That will automatically constrict or limit the mind. All right. So anybody else? What is meditation to you in your own terms? What are you expecting from meditation? What are you trying to get from meditation? So that's great. If all of you are not expecting anything whatsoever from meditation, wow, that means you're really advanced. Really advanced or not very aware. I don't know. I don't know what's.
Brendan,
Yeah.
it's Libby. So
Yes.
this morning when I was meditating, I had watched a movie last night that really I woke up this morning like still thinking about the movie, and it was Jordan Peele's movie Get Out, and all about racism. And so I found myself kind of thinking, oh, how do I solve this problem? What, am I racist? What, how do I as a white person deal with this? And when I was tried to meditate, I was having a little difficulty, and I suddenly came to me, I don't need to solve that problem. That problem is not here in this room with me telling me to solve it. I
Yeah.
can let that go now. And it was not just that, but realizing I don't need to solve anything. I don't need to do anything but is what is right in front of me here and now. That's all that matters.
Great.
And yeah, it was very freeing. Of course, it comes and goes. It doesn't last because I keep thinking about problems. But essentially, yeah, it was like a real message to be in my mind now, here, wherever here is.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Actually, we think we have to solve all the problems. What if you don't think that you don't have to solve all the problems that you think that you have to solve? What would that be like? I'm not saying you're not concerned about anybody, you're totally indifferent. See, we just think we have to solve all these problems. All the problems that you can't solve anyway. These are just conditioning, Somewhere along the line, you were conditioned. I gotta help, I gotta solve the problems. I'm not saying you shouldn't try to solve problems. I'm not saying you shouldn't help. But a lot of it is unnecessary, not only unnecessary, a lot of it is we can't do anything. So why should we spend all this time thinking about, worrying about the things that we can't do anything about? Just clarify and work on what you can work on, and don't get lost in the things that you can't work on. I got to solve the race problem, sitting down.
Well, it's another distraction. It's just another grasping onto something that isn't there.
Yeah, grasping onto your preconditioning.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Well, this is individually has to work out. But this is when we should really start to look and, apply some wisdom, discriminative wisdom. Do I really have to solve this problem when I can't? It's best to do what you can right now. One of the things that constantly came up when people went to see Ramana Maharshi, a lot of people would, how can I help the world? There's so much suffering. How can I help the world? You know, how can I help these people who are suffering? See, that's the conditioning. It may be positive conditioning. But Ramana Maharshi would just say, first help yourself, then you will automatically be able to help others.
Yola told me a story about, she was talking with Sokti Rinpoche, and he was giving her practice to do, and she said, but Rinpoche, I don't have time to do all that. I'm busy helping and saving beings. And she said he laughed and laughed and laughed and laughed till he fell over.
Yeah, of course.
And told her, how can you possibly save beings until you've done something about yourself? Or words to that effect.
Exactly,
How can you possibly save
exactly.
beings until you have achieved some level of realization?
Yeah. You know, yeah, of course she can help by giving something, you know. So you got to be clear what you mean by helping others. There's many different ways of helping others. You know, it's another analogy would be you're trying to put out the fire of somebody else's house and your house is burning down. That neither helps you or the other person. See, we just think we're helping others. But are you really helping others? That's another question. Yeah, there's many different ways of helping. But we got to be wise about it. You know, you've heard of stupid compassion, right? Yeah. So anybody else, what does meditation mean for you? Have you really clarified what does meditation do for you?
I've already spoke. This is Allison. So if somebody else wants to speak, I want them to. But if not, I'll try and respond.
Go ahead.
I mean, I feel like I need to strengthen my meditation. So this is just one possibility, but for me, it's a way of kind of coming home and that will help me see the nature of reality, and it will reframe, like it shifts my perspective, and then that can help me move forward in my life in a more clear way.
Good.
And I mean, the most immediate part is like what you were talking about earlier, then you can let go of all those things you like, or even what Libby was just talking about, like you can let go of whatever it was that you thought was so damn important. And then from that resting space, different things are important.
Good. So, Allison, you have something to work with, to work on.
I know I do.
That's good.
I just have to do more regular. I mean, I've always been very strong with my sadhana practice, and the meditation practice is something I need to really strengthen.
Yeah.
Brandon, this is Jody.
Yeah.
I think that one of the things for meditation for me is that I see how easily I react to things. And I want to be able to not react like that. And I see that some of those reactions, you know, they're negative habits. And I guess I want to not necessarily have a positive habit, but have changed my mind so that what comes up is more positive and
Right.
is not as reactionary.
Right.
And I think for me that I hope, I aspire that if I can make that kind of change, that somehow it just has like a positive almost emanation on other people to try and make a change more globally.
So you don't have to hope. Once you start to do the practice and it actually starts to happen, you're starting to automatically influence and affect other people without you even trying. It just happens automatically. That's what how the awakened ones affect other people. But we do the same thing to a lesser extent. When we practice, we start to get experience. When we start to change, that's what happens.
Okay.
You know, and it's better to simply start to learn how to not to react than trying to have positive thoughts come up, because you have much less control of what's going to come up from your mind. See that?
Yeah.
But you have much more control in terms of whether you're going to react to it or not.
Okay, that's helpful. Thank you.
Yeah. Everybody, once they start to practice, they start to affect other people without you even knowing it. That's just a given thing, which is not a thing. You know, you're not going to be able to see the difference in 1 or 2 days, but believe me, first it'll change you, and it'll change the people that come in contact with you and associate with you. That's just natural. That's the way it is. They cannot be not affected. Just as a person cannot be not affected when they're in the presence of an awakened one. Same. Just to a different extent. That's what is meant by when the awakened ones say, help yourself first, then you will automatically be able to help others. That's what they're talking about. When you first start to help yourself, change yourself, then you will automatically be helping others and changing others. All right, let's end here. So, Tracy, gonna do the dedication, or you want me to do the dedication prayer?
You can do it, Brendan.
All right. By the power of this practice, may our real enemies, our own confusion and misdeeds from our ignorance be overcome and our true nature fully realized, so that we may free beings from miseries of delusions, afflictions, negative emotions, fear, and anger, the endless stormy waves of the ocean of samsara. May the pure and brilliant sun of bodhicitta dawn in each and every heart and mind, dispelling the darkness of suffering and confusion, unstoppably until all are fully illumined and awakened.
Thank you, Brendan.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Brendan. Thank you,
you.
everybody.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Brendan.
Thank you.
Good to see everyone. Thank you, Brendan.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Tracy.